Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. Today we're making a relatively simple project and you can resize the boxes to suit whatever your needs are. The piece consists of two boxes which are hinged. I've used a simple closure and the boxes fall back like so, and then you have access to the gifts inside like so. And this project was actually inspired by a double layered toiletry bag which I saw on Pinterest. It does come together quickly and easily, so let's put the project together. As I said at the beginning, you can make the boxes any size you so wish. If you want to make boxes the same size as mine, I'm starting it with a piece of cardstock which is 10.5 by 8, and you'll do this twice, obviously one for each box. Along the 10.5-inch side, score at 2, 5, 7 and 10. Rotate so that the 1/2-inch tab is at the top, and on the 8-inch side, score from top to bottom at 2 and 6. Then at 1.5, score down to the second score line, so that would be the one that's at 3.5 inches, and do the same at 6.5. So this is creating the flaps which are going to sit inside the box base. So you'll do that twice. You'll then need a piece for the hinge, and this is 3 3/4 inches square, and on one of the 3 3/4 inches sides, score halfway across, so this is 1 7/8 of an inch. We're going to start by folding and burnishing along all of the score lines. So we'll start with the 1/2-inch tab over on the right hand side. So there's nothing special in the way that we're going to make the box. We'll start by cutting up each of the verticals to the long horizontal, and you can just cut along the first 3 horizontals. Then when you get to the end, we're going to rotate and we're going to cut along the additional score line. Like so. Cut up the next score line to the horizontal, rotate and remove the square. Like so. Let's just get rid of that. So that looks like that. Then we're going to repeat that on this side. I'm going to take a wedge from the 2 smaller tabs here, and I'm going to take a slight wedge from the flap that's going to go inside the box. And again, do this on both sides. I'm going to round off this front flap just because that's my preferred look of when I make my boxes. And then finally, because the lid is going to be tucked in effectively against the hinged piece, I want some way that you can get the lid open. So I'm going to fold over the front flap, and using my circle punch, I'm going to just cut a small notch like so. So when the box is made up, there's just enough there for you to, or for the recipient to get their finger in and get the lid open. So we're going to make the box by adding glue to the 2 smaller tabs, pulling those around and gluing the side up like so. I can see that I've got some score line left behind, so I'm going to remove that so I do have a nice flush edge. So that's our box. As I say, there's nothing fancy about the box, and make the two boxes whatever size you need. And then the lid is going to sit down, and just check whether you need to reshape the internal flaps at all, but that's going to sit down like there, and that's nice and snug, which is what we want. So you'll have two boxes, and the idea is that if you put the bottom box so that the access point is over to the left hand side, the box which sits on top, the access point is going to be on the left hand side, but it's going to be at the bottom, so like this. So what we're going to do now is add the hinge on, which will join the two boxes together, and then this box will open and come back like so, and then you will access the two boxes from the middle. I'm going to fold and burnish thoroughly the hinge. And I am going to fold it in the opposite direction as well. So you can see that the hinge is slightly smaller than the surface of the back when the two boxes are added together, and that is because I didn't want to have another raw edge and then the pattern paper on top. So my pattern, this is effectively the same size as, or the same width as my pattern paper. So we'll stick the bottom one on first. Now we want to make sure that the scored element is sitting just above the box, just above the top edge of the box, like so. I'm going to keep it folded in half, add glue all the way across the back, and I'm going to sit this so that it's equidistant from the left and the right, and I want my score line on the top edge of the box. So let's just shift that over slightly. So when I add my pattern paper is going to line up with the hinge. So that's going to sit on there like that. I can see that that is going to fold the hinge. In fact, I can just press it down slightly. So that's going to sit like that. So this next box, the two middles are going to be facing each other. So they will be like so. So I can add glue onto this side. Get the two boxes lined up. Make sure that they're lined top and bottom. Just going to push that together. Then once that's tacked in place, I'm going to lift the box up and over. I want to make sure that the score line is in the right place and the box can actually sit over the top of the second box. And I can see that that is all lined up nicely. I'm happy. But I'm just going to shift it slightly that way. And that all opens and closes nicely. So I can now go in and burnish that down. So as I say, there's absolutely nothing revolutionary about this box. It's two boxes hinged together. And then that's going to come like so. Now I'm going to decorate my box so that my closure will come together and they will sit in this orientation and then open like so. Obviously you might want to have your closure system so it comes top to bottom. So just think about how you want your box to look. If for instance you wanted it to have a suitcase effect, for instance, you might want to have some straps which are going to come down with smaller straps which are going to come up and create a buckle effect. So the box is now ready for decoration, so very easy to put together. So I will go ahead and decorate my box and then I will give you the sizes of the pattern paper. Here's the finished box. Nothing fancy in the decoration. I've just added two different styles of paper, and then I've secured two strips of black ribbon which are secured on 3 sides and then just the simple bow on the top. I'm really happy with how this has come together, and it actually makes quite a good storage piece. If you think of a crafter, for instance, and the doors open and you've got access to your goodies in their little boxes, and then at the end of the day snap it back together and tie it up. I must confess my bow tying skills need some work, but I will give you the sizes of the pattern paper. For each box you would need 2 pieces which were 3 3/4 times 2 3/4, 2 pieces which are 3 3/4 times 1 3/4, and 2 pieces which are 2 3/4 times 1 3/4. So there we have today's project. As I said, you can make this any size that you want to suit your particular needs. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.